Olunaku lwakutaano Mukama tumwebaliza ddala okubanga atusobozesa okubanga tulutuuseemu ewiiki yo eringa gye tukubye oluku mu mutwe. Ekitiibwa tukiddiza Mukama kubanga si wa maanyi gaffe si lwa buyinza bwaffe naye olw'ekisa kye tumwebaza. Nkwebaza emirimu gy'okwasako engalo okuva ku makya mpaka essaawa zino okwanyiriza ku Joy Television amawulire agookya. Nze Vicky Blessing atolaire ogakutuusaako kasooke nga kuwe mu bufunze oluvannyuma nkomewo tovaako. Minisita w'ettaka abadde e Buyukwe ku nsonga z'enkaayana z'ettaka. Dry spell eyinza okuwangaala nga gavumenti esaba okukozesa emmere ennungi. Enzirukanya y'entobazi okwetooloola eggwanga lyonna. UPDF etuukiriza ekisuubizo mu Sironko District. Museveni asabye empisa nga UPDF etiikira abajaasi abapya. UMA ekyazizza Minisita Sanje mu kuteesa ku by'obusuubuzi e Lugogo. Nkukulisaayo nnyo mawulire mu bufunze era nga nkwanyiriza ku Joy Television amawulire agookya gatandise era nga ndi wano gakuwa mu bujjuvu. Wano tutandise ne Minisita w'ettaka amayumba n'okukulaakulanya ebibuga Judisi Nabakooba nga ali wamu ne Minisita w'obwa Pulezidenti Mire Babirye Babalanda bayingidde mu nsonga z'enkaayana z'ettaka ku kibanja ky'omugenzi Lauben Muyombya mu disitulikiti y'e Buyukwe. Katubirabe.
The dispute concerns the 323.5-acre estate previously leased to the Shore Corporation of Uganda Limited before the lease expired. Some of the late Muyombya's children later sold part of the land to Chinese investment company Simbaland. He said they legally obtained letters of administration authorizing them to manage the estate. The grandchildren, represented by Aisha Naluze, maintained the sale was unlawful because the deceased had already distributed the land through his will.
Wateesa enkulaakulana ejje mu kitundu. Famire yasalawo okutunda ettaka eryo erya Polotisiini bulooka 313 liguzibwa mu China. Kiramu kino bw'okisoma jjajja nnyinnyonnyola nti Muyombya akopa pulotisi n'essatu eriko metta n'ebbiri eziriko payodat yazigabanga buli puloti abaana yabawa lubuto.
Simbaland's lawyer Chigund Paul Salongo defended the company's purchase, saying all legal procedures and due diligence were followed. State Minister in the Office of the Vice President and Buyukwe District Woman MP Diana Mutasingwa called for fairness, condemned land brokers and urged thorough investigations.
Waliwo abafamire abazzukulu n'abazzukulu abataataganya bannaabwe kubanga abasinga bonna bali naffe era bwe baatuguza nga ba-administrator.
That nothing is going to be done on this land until both the families come together and the issue is solved. Having the investors is very good, but we also want to have an investor in a safe environment whereby there is no land issues between the families. As the woman member of parliament, security should come in and help the people. We don't want to see faces in this area.
Minister Minister Judith Nabakoba directed that the status quo on the 323.5-acre land be maintained until investigations are completed. She ordered both parties to appear before her office next week with all relevant documents for verification before government reaches a final decision.
Atenda gambi ekintu situdde insecurity ebaddereetebwa ku kitundu. Sebo RPC olina okwongera amaanyi mu by'okwerinda ku ttaka.
Naye mu meeting eno tewaliiwo kyamakulu kye tuyinza kujjamu. Bwe tunaamaliriza okuba nti tunoonyereza ne tutuuka kukkaanya era tujja kuba tukomawo okubawa alipoota oba okudda ku ttaka okusinziira ku bye tunaaba tusazeewo n'abakulu ba family n'abalala abeemulugunya ku ttaka eryo.
The Minister for the Presidency, Mile Babiria Babalanda, condemned acts of violence, unlawful actions by some residents, and misconduct by security personnel, saying the incident prompted President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's intervention.
Kakati ensonga eyo yaleese obuzibu kubanga President Museveni bw'agiraba n'agamba situkiramu waliwo omuntu atafaana naffe muddugavu gwe baatuuzizza wansi ne bamugyako ebintu byonna.
The dispute brought together Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development Judith Nabakoba, Minister for the Presidency Mile Babiria Babalanda, Minister for Kampala and Metropolitan Affairs Minsa Kamanda, and State Minister in the Office of the Vice President, as well as Wikwe District Woman MP Diana Mutasingwa, to engage the family and guide efforts towards a peaceful and lawful.
Eyo nga tuvuddeyo ate gavumenti erabudde nti ekizibu ky'embeera y'obudde mu nsi yonna tekinnaggwa era nga minisita w'eggwanga ow'amazzi n'obutonde obw'ensi Beatrice yeegayirira abantu okuteekateeka obulungi okumala ebbanga eddene ery'ekyeya olw'ebudde obutali bulungi nnyonnyo ddala. Katubirabe.
The country has for the past months faced an unusual shortage of rainfall, causing what many have termed as drought in several communities. The northern and parts of the eastern Uganda are among the most hit.
We are worried about food security in our households. And when you look at the statistics from the region, from all the districts, you'll hear from the members of parliament from the region who will attest to this fact. It is very crucial that government needs to pay attention by responding quickly on provision of some relief food for the people, but also support us in the next planting season so that our people are able to pick up from there maybe.
The weather has changed drastically in northern Uganda. And weather change, I guessed, because of the massive tree cutting that were taking place in northern Uganda. You recall some time back, His Excellency the President issues an executive order to stop massive tree cutting. But those ones who are acting, they did not stop.
Despite the early warnings by the Uganda National Meteorological Authority and government, several farmers have continued to count losses.
I personally speaking, I'm a farmer, but I'm never affected by drought or any adverse weather conditions because I do all my agriculture in greenhouses and supplement it with the water for irrigation using irrigation systems, modern irrigation systems.
The members of parliament asked for the government response. The Minister of State for Water and Environment, Beatrice Anywa, attributed the situation to the global climate crisis.
Partly due to the developing El Nino condition, that is warming of the sea surface over equatorial, central and eastern Pacific Ocean.
Uganda operates a two-season of planting ranging from months of March, April, May and September, October, November to December. This has been altered with a longer dry spell. It is not to end soon. Water shortage is expected to continue. Waterborne diseases, reduction of household income.
Here we are likely to have reduced crop yields, livestock stress, and chances of increased pests and diseases that thrive in warm and dry conditions.
Some members of parliament have found the minister's statement short of immediate solutions.
What we need right now is relief food. What we need right now is immediate action on how we can get water for production for Karamoja that is sustainable. For instance, we have a lot of dams that need rehabilitation. And for about 10 years right now, there is no dam that has been rehabilitated.
This one is a call to government that disasters or hard times affect the vulnerable more than us who are a bit capable. And this goes into planning of risk reduction in whatever we do. If it is agriculture, how do we integrate irrigation farming or irrigation to the common person down there?
The public has been implored to use the available food sparingly, as the warm and fray condition is likely to cover up to the month of August.
Maybe we stock some if we still have granaries like northern Uganda, and that's if we have the food.
Daniel Mugo.
Eyo nga tuvuddeyo ate obuwumbi bwa siringi obutaka wansi wa 10 n'obukadde 2 bwe buteereddwawo okuddukanya entobazi okwetoloola eggwanga lyonna nga ekiruubirirwa kya kuzzaawo enzizi ezitaka wansi wa yiika 1,013. Katubirabe.
Guard our environment and adapt to climate change. Government has allocated Uganda shillings 494.08 billion next financial year.
It is a commitment government has stepped up with an allocation of 494.0 billion shillings. It is allocated towards environmental protection and climate resilience. This is contained in the 2026-2027 financial year budget recently presented to Ugandans.
These funds will protect 1.26 million hectares of forest reserves and wetlands, restore 10,000 hectares of degraded wetlands, and demarcate critical river banks and lake shores, particularly along the Nile.
Of the 494.0 billion shillings, 10.2 billion is meant for wetlands management across the country. Wetland demarcation, restoration and protection has been allocated 50.5% of the 494.08 billion budget. Advocacy, public awareness and information management are the driving factors to strengthen community participation in wetland conservation. Also allocated 18.3% of the 494.08 billion.
The President Labour is telling people the science of rainfall formation, they need to protect wetlands because they are aquifers, they do water filtration, they store water, they release water during the dry season, the biodiversity. So sensitization alone, we have allocated in the PIAP 18.3% of the budget will be going for that.
Infrastructure development, including establishment of eco-parks in urban wetlands, has been allotted 17.6%, and 13.6% has been set aside for research activities. These include the National Capital Accounts, assessment of the state of wetlands, and other scientific studies to guide policy and planning.
That we are trying to change the urban wetlands like Luviji, Mayanja, Bisina, all this Awoja, all these urban wetlands in all the cities, including Kampala. We are converting them into eco-parks. Eco-parks are for tourism purposes and recreation.
To boost the cause, each local government has also been allocated 107 million shillings out of the 10.2 billion shillings. This will support environmental protection and restoration activities.
Part of this money is also conditional grants to the local governments, the NR conditional grants. I want to inform Ugandans that the government has allocated to a tune of 107 million shillings for each of the local governments in Uganda. Also to look at issues of wetlands, look at issues of forestry.
Among the wetlands on priority for restoration and protection include Muzizi, Mpanga, Rufuha in western Uganda, Luanjali, Sezibwa, Mayanja in central Uganda, Aswa, Tochi in northern Uganda, Awoja, Lumbuye, Chibimba, Mpologoma, as well as those along Lake Victoria in eastern Uganda. The selection of these wetlands was based on the rate of degradation of their ecosystem.
We do what we call mapping of the hotspots, areas which are heavily degraded. So most of those wetlands that I've just mentioned, they are not doing well. There are a lot of areas that have been degraded. We are going to respond to restore those areas. The other one also, we look at the importance of these wetland systems as far as biodiversity, water storage, and retention is concerned, and the filtration and the storm absorption. So those are the parameters we consider in selecting these. Selecting these wetlands for restoration.
It is a priority alignment with the 4th National Development Plan and the Parish Integrated Agro-Industrialization Program.
NDP4, these are the focused areas of alignment to NDP4. So whatever we do in the budgeting and planning, we look at the National Development Plan 4. So in our National Development Plan 4, those are the key systems that we captured for restoration and management.
During this financial year, government plans to restore 13,000 hectares of degraded wetlands, demarcate 400 kilometers of wetland boundaries, develop and implement framework wetland management plans covering 6,000 hectares.
We want to ensure that those 13,000 hectares are fully intact. They are fully intact and they are functioning. Ecosystem services are functioning. We are also going to demarcate the buffer zones of all these systems, 400 kilometers. So 400 kilometers of those systems that I've mentioned, we are going to demarcate. That is alone, as ministry alone, minus local governments.
Nonetheless, government also intends to protect the country's remaining 2,245,740 hectares of intact wetlands from further degradation. Similarly, 300 wetland household dependents will be supported with alternative livelihood projects aimed at reducing dependence on destructive wetland activities.
People have been saying, you are taking us away from the wetlands. What do we need to do? Is there an alternative? So for those systems which I've mentioned, we are also going to support 300 households. 300 households with alternative sources of income.
Implementation will be supported through strengthened enforcement operations to curb illegal wetland degradation and encroachment, and developing joint framework management plans with the local communities to promote sustainable use of wetland resources.
So we guide the communities to develop a management plan and action, what they will be doing, all the stakeholders, what they need to do, both government, rural communities and civil society and other actors that they need to do. So we shall do 60,000 management plans across the country.
All these initiatives will aid the 5 years journey of improving the wetland cover from the current 9.3% to at least 13% hectares of wetland cover.
Our target in the NDP4 is to go to 10.3. By the end of this current NDP4, we should be at 10.3. So by 2030, 2040, we believe that we should be going back to 13 point something hectares or percent of the wetland cover intact of the country. So
the restored wetlands are expected to contribute approximately 0.4 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalent towards Uganda's nationally determined contributions under global climate commitments.
Uganda signed the Paris Agreement, and we also have the nationally determined contributions to ensure that we minimize emissions of greenhouse gases.
To ensure accountability, implementation of these plans will be monitored through quarterly and annual performance reviews, field verification exercises, joint planning, and restoration operations. This will not be limited to program review meetings. Continuous monitoring of key performance indicators including hectares restored, boundary kilometers demarcated, households supported, and compliance with environmental regulations.
We are going to ensure that we continue to do monitoring and surveillance of the areas which we have already restored. We are going to encourage to sensitize communities. We are also going to do awareness and also provide alternative sources of livelihoods.
As government rolls out these restoration programs across the country, the real challenge will be ensuring that the billions invested translate into expected results. So
eyo nga tuvuddeyo nyongera okujjukiza nti okyali ku mawulire agokya naddala gwe eyakatwegattako okoze kyamaanyi nnyo ddala naye kansooke ngendeko mu bulango bwa bakama bange oluvannyuma nkomewo nga kuwe bulungi nnyo ddala nkusaba tovaako.
Uganda akaseera k'okusinza kano katuuse. Okuvangira ku mwezi 28 okutuusa nga 3 Julayi oyanirizibwa mu lukuŋŋaana lw'okusinza n'okuzibwa obujja olwa National Worship Revival Conference olw'omwaka 2026 aku Deliverance Church in Zambia mu Kampala, era ne ku mulundi guno lwa misana na kiro teri kuzikiza. Oli musinza, musumba, muyimbi oba mukkiriza, tosanye kusubwa kaseera kano akatagenda kuleka kyekimu. Yita mukyala wo, maama wo, kale leeta ennyumba yo n'ekkanisa yo yonna bagambe nti olukuŋŋaana lw'okusinza lwa bwereere awatali kusasula yadde nnusu. Ky'olina okukola kikino kuteekateeka mutima gwo n'ennyumba yo ennaku z'omwezi 28 okutuusa nga 3 Julayi zireme kusanga walala. Okumanya ebisingawo kuba ku 07.8 499 811 National Worship Revival Conference 2026.
What does it look like to faithfully steward everything God has placed in your hands? Inuka Africa Uganda chapter welcomes you for Women Arise Conference 2026, a powerful gathering of women hungry for growth, purpose, and kingdom impact. This year, we explore the theme Kingdom Stewardship from Luke 19 verse 17 with practical and transformative teachings on all-round stewardship for today's rising woman. Join us on Saturday 11th July 2026 at the Office of the President Conference Hall. Scan the QR code or click the link to register or call +256 781 641 394. Admission is free. Come ready to be empowered, equipped, and transformed. Women Arise Conference 2026, Faithful Stewardship unlocks greater kingdom influence.
Nkukulisaayo nnyo mu bulango obwo era nga tukyali mu mawulire agookya ndi wano gakuwa mu bujjuvu nnyo ddala. Nkwebaza nti weekumidde ku Joy Television. Katugende mu maaso n'amawulire gaffe agookya nga wano ekitongole kya UPDF Engineering Brigade kyongedde amaanyi mu kuzimba ettendekero lya Memorial College ery'abasawo abazaalisa mu district ya Silongo. Katubirabe.
Wapakabulu Memorial College of Nursing and Midwifery in Mafuru, Silongo district is gradually taking shape as construction enters a critical phase. This project is yet another example of the UPDF's role in national development and its contribution to building the country's infrastructure.
This structure, it is an administration block. We have many structures that are coming up, but basically in phase 1 we started with the administration block, whereby the administration block, this is the entrance of the administration block because our reception is here. Internal plastering, we are at 98% because as you see the whole of this part is already plastered. We are just waiting for the next phase of painting and other activities that can follow after the plastering.
The 47 billion shillings project is part of the government's plan to expand health training institutions and increase the number of workers across the country.
Have an expanded joint in between. Then when we come to the western part, where the principal's office is in the ground floor, it has 3 floors. We have the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor. So it looks a bit different, but it is the design.
The Wapakabulu Nursing and Midwifery School is a big project. Its total cost is 47 billion. Now of this, it has the following works to be done. It covers the administration block, which is in phase 1. It covers the external works, that is the fencing of the land. It covers bringing water and electricity, that is utilities.
The college is named in honor of the late Wapakabulo, a former Speaker of Parliament and Foreign Affairs Minister, whose contribution to Uganda's diplomacy remains part of the country's history.
And we don't want to disappoint our Commander-in-Chief, because he has really spearheaded us and he has given us all what it takes, and he had his vision right from time ago when he formed these construction units, and he co-located all divisions of the construction unit, implying he had a vision early on so that we take on most of these projects. So by assigning us such works, and we shouldn't let the big man down. We have to work hard and ensure we deliver project first of all timely and of quality, and really as expected, and in harmony with the wananchi and the social services.
Eyo wetuvaayo ate Museveni asabye empisa nga UPDF etikira 10,000 ez'abajaasi abapya.
The establishment of Wasako, Wazalendo Sako.
The skies were lit, the ground was ready, and the soldiers were smart, armed with physical, mental, and intellectual capacity. They displayed what was expected of them: resilience, endurance, and readiness for service.
So for me, the passing out is more than an addition of new personnel to the Uganda People's Defence Force. It's a reminder that Uganda's future depends not only on a stronger defense force, but on one that is professional, on one that is disciplined, on one that is technologically sophisticated, and one that is firmly committed to protecting the lives and the property of every Ugandan.
This is what both the President and the Chief of Defense Forces were here to witness as they marched in both slow and quick march. It was obvious they were ready for service.
Whether in the scorching heat or the chilling rain, has shaped your character and tested your ability to withstand harsh conditions. During these weeks, you learned not only how to operate a weapon or navigate a jungle, you learned the true meaning of teamwork and patriotism.
Your achievement today stands as a statement to your unwavering determination and dedication. I congratulate you on realizing your dream of becoming soldiers.
With such readiness, Uganda's security and that of its neighbors will continue to be upheld as alluded to by the Chief of Defense Forces.
In Eastern DRC, despite the outbreak of the Ebola epidemic, our gallant troops, while observing strict Ebola SOPs, have continued to dominate the area of operation and apply unceasing pressure on ADF terrorists still scattered in North Kivu and Ituri regions. In South Sudan, the situation is much more stable than it was 16 months ago when the EPDF deployed there.
Such passion for service is what enabled the country to go through a recently conducted election successfully, to which the CDF congratulated the President.
Uganda is peaceful, secure, and thriving. However, what is also true is that we are having to deal with a fifth column of neo-colonialist sympathizers and agents of foreign interests who are intent on sabotaging our national independence and development.
Continued extension of such service will require good health, something which the President agreed with the CDF.
Take care of your lives and maintain your medical and physical fitness. Secondly, uphold the values of discipline, courage, and loyalty. Third, always cultivate the warrior spirit and warrior ethos. We're just beginning.
Vous avez commencé maintenant.
The future is very bright.
La future est brillante. La future est brillante.
If you keep your discipline,
Si vous conservez votre discipline,
look after your health,
vous continuez à être en bonne santé,
no corruption,
pas de corruption,
and also develop professionally.
President Yoweri Museveni reiterated his message against laxity in service delivery and wealth creation quests.
Strong economy and modern.
nous voudrons une économie forte et moderne
In the 4 sectors:
dans les 4 secteurs.
commercial, agriculture,
L'agriculture commerciale,
manufacturing,
le manufacturing, la fabrication aussi,
services,
les services
and ICT.
et le ICT. Ça,
Because you cannot have a strong army if you don't have a strong economy.
The president also seized the occasion to rally Ugandans behind voting leaders of integrity in the upcoming village local council elections.
The wananchi are going to vote to elect in the LC1s
les wananchi, vous allez faire le scrutin
and the women councils.
et les autres.
So elect leaders who will help you to fight corruption.
Faites l'élection avec le peuple qui vont vous aider à combattre la corruption.
Olukiiko olw'omubyalo mulonde abakulembeze abanayamba okulwanyisa enguzi.
Over 10,000 soldiers have been passed out from 5 different military training schools.
Eyo nga tuvuddeyo ate UMA ekyaziza Minisita Sanjay Tana mu kuteesa ku by'obusuubuzi n'amakolero e Lugogo.
Targets that we have.
This was the first formal engagement between manufacturers and their new line minister, Sanjay Tana. Manufacturers under their umbrella body, the Uganda Manufacturers Association, reaffirmed their commitment to driving Uganda's social and economic transformation through industrialization and value addition.
The minister has given us assurance that all of the issues presented will be reviewed, and we are optimistic that we will have a regular dialogue with the ministry on all matters that concern manufacturing going forward.
On his part, Minister Sanjay Tana underscored the critical role trade and industry play in delivering Uganda's ambitious tenfold economic growth agenda.
Last year alone, Uganda sold off $1 billion worth of exports to Congo. So the markets are there. What in economics we would call the factors of production are there. But government is urging us to stay focused on 4 key pillars, and we are calling it ATMS.
The sector now contributes 27.4% to our GDP. And the manufacturing alone contributes 33% to our revenue, which is a great. And then where we are going to fill the gap is what Dennis talked about. This morning I had a meeting and we are going to come and brief you on the industrial mapping.
The UMA board and management raised concerns over legitimate tax-paying businesses being undercut by players in the large informal sector, creating an uneven business environment. Currently, the manufacturing sector contributes at least 30% of Uganda's total national tax revenue.
We furthered the ministry to work closely with City Council to see how many licenses they are issued. We used to have inspectors to go from shop to shop, from industry to industry, checking on the current license. Do these people have valid licenses? Because the way things are, maybe like our chairman said, a good number don't have even trading licenses.
Minister Turner offered strong assurances to the manufacturers, committing to listen to their concerns and work towards addressing them for the mutual benefit of government and the private sector.
Obadde mulabi mulungi ow'amawulire agookya okuva gye twatandikidde mpaka essaawa zino nga go amawulire agookya gawedde. Naye nga sinaba kubasiibula munzikirize mbaagaliza olugendo olulungi mmwe abagenda mu overnight ekiro kya leero, amagenda amalungi ate nga mbasabira obukuumi bwa Katonda bubatambulireko nnyo ddala. Tusinkane olunaku olwa Monday naye ate temwerabira gendako ku church olunaku olwa Sunday, kubanga awatali Mukama naffe tetusobola kubanga tetuliiwo. Byonna bye tukola si maanyi gaffe naye olw'amaanyi ga Mukama Katonda. So tewerabira gendako ku olwa Sunday mu church. Joy Television, amawulire agookya, nze Vicky Blessing. Tusinkane olunaku olwa Monday essaawa zezimu. Mweraba.
Music Studio.